Manchester City 4, Borussia Dortmund 1. It was a beat down for the Germans in Manchester tonight. Newcastle winning 2-0 at home to Athletic Club Bilbao. A very solid performance from the Toon army. And Club Brugge pulling off an absolutely fantastic performance tonight. In my opinion, exceedingly unlucky not to win it 4-2 at the end. But Barcelona, that high line is going to cost you. That high line will stop you winning the Champions League. You're never going to get away with it. It's absolutely horrendous. Any team with pace is going to destroy it. But listen, sit down, hit the like button first of all, subscribe, hit the hype button for us as well. It's very important you guys support the independent channels because the mainstream media is taking over this space. And I know you enjoy a lot of the mainstream media. I get that. But if you enjoy the independent fan creation, you need to like, share, subscribe, turn the bell notification button on as well. Very, very important indeed. But another fantastic night. It was another fantastic night of Champions League football. I know I thoroughly enjoyed it. I do want to get your views. I do want to get your opinions on it as well. Look forward to hearing from you guys and seeing from you guys on that as well. Why are the comments not coming through on there? It's very strange. Anyhow, I'll put them up the old-fashioned way. We're going to jump into some of your comments and let you know what you think and feel. But I want to speak about Man City to begin with. I want to start with Man City, and I want to start with a specific person in the team tonight. And I know the robot. I know Erling Haaland scored. I know Cherky came on and I thought looked like the magician that we know he is. But I want to speak about the brilliance of Phil Foden tonight. That performance, that display. Listen, he has one of the best touches and half turns that I think I've ever seen from an Englishman. Genuinely. The way he takes the ball on the half turn, the way he creates that extra split second of time for himself is absolutely majestic. And for me, Phil Foden is a player that, in my humble opinion, he had a bad year by his standards last year. Still actually scored quite a few goals, still impacted a few matches, but didn't have a great year. And as Phil Foden wasn't playing well, I feel like the world turned on him. A lot of City fans backed him, but I felt the world and football just turned its back on a player that had been brilliant since the day he came into the Manchester City team. He'd been consistent. He'd been a goal scorer, a match winner, a playmaker, an influential figure in multiple title races, multiple cup journeys, multiple European campaigns. Part of four-peats, part of trebles. I don't even know all the records that he's part of. History. This man was integral to. He may not have been the main superstar, but that's impossible at a team like City that built a dynasty. And most English clubs, most fans of most English clubs don't know what a dynasty really is. I'm talking winning 4, 5, 6, 7 league titles within a decade. Trebles, doubles, points records, Champions Leagues, quads in terms of retaining league titles. City did things in that no other club have done, but there's only really the Liverpool in the 70s and 80s, United in the 90s and 90s, and now this City team in English football history that's done it. You don't understand what a dynasty is. When you have a team like that, yes, you might have one person that comes out on top as the best player, but the squad is so thick and so deep and so full of quality, you're not always the standout poster boy. And that is just the nature of that beast. And I thought Phil Foden was so disrespected last year, but what we saw tonight was a brilliant first touch. What we saw tonight was an amazing half turn. The finishing was sublime, to say the least. And the second goal from Phil Foden, just watch it. I've seen a lot of talk in the last few days about what players make you move to the edge of your seat. I want to one-up that a little bit because I was thinking about this during the game. I said, what do I prefer as a football fan? Players that put me up on the edge of my seat or players that make me stand up? Do you understand the distinction without me explaining it? Or are you a toaster person that needs me to break it down? Sitting on the edge of your seat is amazing. So, what's he going to do? Wow, look at that. Whoa, that was close. A player that regularly makes you stand up is changing the game. It's changing the game. And for me, That is what Phil Foden did tonight, and it's what Phil Foden's done the majority of his career. He puts you on the edge of your seat. He does amazing things with the ball at his feet. He's touched some of his dribbles, some of his runs, passes. I don't care if they've got modern day names. I'm just going by what I call things. But he makes you stand up. He gets you off your seat. And he said he gets you off. Children in the back will start laughing. I'm going to say children. I don't mean literal. I mean grown-ups, so that like children will laugh at that. But Phil Foden, genius. Phil Foden, generational. Phil Foden, what a player he has been for City. I think that's his 20th goal in the Champions League, one of the highest goal-scoring midfield players in English football history in the Champions League. An absolute quality player. And he's still only he's not a baby, but he ain't exactly old, Phil Foden. What is he, 24, 25? If he's older than that, I'll eat me out. 25 years of age, going to turn 26 at the end of the season. And I'm really happy. Look, I don't like seeing Man City win as a United fan, but I've been sick to my back teeth of the way Phil Foden has been spoken about in the last 12 months. Criticize him when he's played badly, yes. But it was I remember, and I hope Mo Gender comes on the channel. Mo said on the stream, and I want to talk to him tonight. Make sure you hear Mo, that one bad season undid all the great work that came before it. And I just felt that takes like that were absolutely repugnant on a footballing level. On a footballing level, wrong. So well done to Phil Foden tonight. I wanted to shout him out. I wanted to give him his praise because it was very, very much deserved on every single level. City, by the way, looking a bit scary, aren't they? City, by the way, starting to purr. Starting to purr very nicely. A lot of control. Now, by the way, Dortmund are a good team. But when you watch Man City tonight, they just had the majority of the momentum for large parts of the game. In the second half, once they went 3-0 up, they kind of let Dortmund play. They did get a goal back and they had their moments. Okay. But City, for large parts of this game today, I just thought were excellent. The only thing I feel that you would criticize them for today, they probably didn't create enough big chances in the game. So the creativity needs to be looked at. But I didn't think they were in much trouble at all. And yes, you'll look at the stats and you'll see that Dortmund had 50% of the ball. But barring the second half where they're already 3-0 up, I didn't really see Dortmund as that much of a threat to Manchester City. I look at the overall team today and I feel, again, Nico is growing into himself. I thought Reinders had one of his better performances of the season. We've mentioned Phil Foden already. Absolutely majestic. Haaland again. I don't know now how many goals that is. I'm going to try and find out by clicking on his name on his website. It may not tell me. I don't know how many goals he scored in totality this season. I just don't. That's his 13. That might not even be in that league. But Erling Haaland's a joke. Erling Haaland ain't even real. Do you remember that meme of that woman? I don't remember her name. I think her name was Tiffany, actually, who screamed on the back of that bus, "You're not even real." That's Erling Haaland. I think she was pointing at Erling Haaland. I think that's what it was. I think she was pointing at Erling Haaland. 17 goals. Does that include tonight's Champions League goal? No, it doesn't. 18 goals now in all competitions for him. 18 goals so far this season in 14 games. The man is, and I mean this in the nicest possible way, he's a freak. He's a freak. He's an absolute freak of nature, is what he is. And yeah, City starting to purr. City starting to look dangerous. And look, a lot of people have been talking about the Premier League being over, City having no chance of winning anything major this year. I think the tide's starting to turn on that opinion. It certainly is for me. And I will say again, I know they conceded one goal tonight. It's not his 27th goal in the Premier. That's international as well, I assume. It's 18 in like club level I'm talking, but I hear you. Again, another very good performance from Donnarumma tonight. I just want to point that out to people. A couple of big saves. There was that brilliant moment where he comes out, sweeper keeper, and makes two tackles, one after the other. That's another sensational piece of business by Manchester City as well. So look, as I say, just excellent and well done to City tonight. Newcastle. Listen, before I'm going to bring the panel out in a few minutes, just because I've got to get to bed early tonight because I've got a few airport runs to do tomorrow. But Newcastle looking nice in the Champions League as well. You know, I was listening to Steve McManaman talking on commentary, and he kept on saying again and again that Newcastle were leading. And by the way, the opening goal, I can't actually. the way he headed that in, Dan Burn, it was like watching a David Beckham free kick off someone's head. It was crazy. But I kept on hearing the commentator go on about how Athletic Club would be the better team and they were causing loads of problems. Have you ever listened to a commentator speak, but watched it yourself and just gone, what is he talking about? Yes, they got the ball to the edge of Newcastle's box and they had possession for periods of the game. But again, I didn't feel that maybe in the opening period of the game, they were a little bit of a threat. But that happens in the Champions Leagues because I've seen that a lot in this game week and a lot in the Champions League now. Teams come out and the opening, the lesser team comes out in the first 10 minutes and tries to get themselves a little bit of an advantage in a game. Didn't get it. Then for me, the rest of the game just felt like Newcastle were the better side. And 2-0, I feel, was a little bit flattering. They probably should have got more shots on goal, Newcastle. That will be where they'll be frustrated. They had lots of great opportunities that didn't manifest into chances. But of those 8 shots, 3 of them were big chances, and they didn't concede a single big chance. And they defended very, very well. And I thought Newcastle, they lost that opening game to Barcelona, but since then they've looked very, very strong indeed. And you look at that table now, and the table for me is starting to look very, very interesting indeed, with Bayern Munich first, with Arsenal second. You've got Inter that won 2-1 tonight on 12 points. Man City on 10 after their win. You've got Paris Saint-Germain on 9. They lost, of course, but then you've got Newcastle, Real Madrid, Liverpool. That makes up the top 8. So the English clubs with 4 teams inside that top 8. I don't think anybody is overly surprised. I think Bayern Munich, Paris Saint-Germain, Real Madrid, we would all expect to be there. Inter Milan as well. You now look at, Chelsea probably should be in and around that as well, playing Karabag when they did, but they go up against Barcelona next. And honestly, I'm going to say this about Barca. I think Chelsea could beat them. I think if Chelsea can defend well, that high line is right for the picking, bruv. Right for the picking. Honestly, that Hansi Flick annoys me. Doesn't need to play that high, but maybe he does to make the attacking side of his game work. Some tactico is going to school me on that, but it just seems. You remember that song by Akon? You got me going suicidal. That song keeps coming in my head. I can't sing, by the way. Suicidal. That's suicidal football, is what it is. But there we go. But the league's looking excellent, and look, Newcastle giving themselves a shout here. You want to be in the top 8 for automatic qualification. You play 2 games less. And I don't know if it's a top 2 or top 4, but definitely top 2. You play all your knockout second legs at home. And I think that's a massive advantage. I think it's a massive, massive advantage for most teams to have your home fans behind you. Away goals don't count anymore. So it's excellent to do. But what a Champions League we've got. I think all of the Premier League teams sit inside the top 12, by the way. We have all 6 of our teams in the top 12. And I say the only side in that you maybe wouldn't have expected to have been in it is Galatasaray. And that's only because they did okay in the Europa League last year, but they weren't really a massive threat. They've gone up a level. They sit 9th. Outside of that, everybody else that's in there, Barcelona, Real Madrid, Paris Saint-Germain, Inter, Bayern Munich, you would expect to see. And then the others are the English sides. And, Chelsea and Spurs can continue what they're doing. Newcastle, I wouldn't be surprised if 4 or 5 finish inside the top 8 from England. I really, really wouldn't at all, because of what I've seen. I think a lot of the English teams could give Barca a run for their money with that high line. Galatasaray, I wouldn't be too. I know they beat Liverpool, but overall, I wouldn't be too worried. Real Madrid, saw what Liverpool did to them last night. I think Real Madrid going to a St. James's Park at the moment. I think Real Madrid going away to an Arsenal or playing an Arsenal or a Man City right now, I think they get beat. I really, really do. But look, I want your views. I want your opinions. I'm going to bring the panel out on the show now. Bads here says Bayern will be champs. Listen, as a Man United fan, I do and I don't want that, because that's another team that pulls further away from our overall total. And I'm not that worried about Madrid, because we're not catching Madrid in my lifetime. I'm more worried about the guys on 4s, 5s, 6s, 7s, because I think that is plausible at some. I'm only 40, well, nearly 40. But equally, though, like Chelsea winning it's probably the scariest one for me, because it means they would go level with United on 3. That's the team more than anyone that I don't want to win it. So one out of everybody, I don't want to win it the most, actually. City as well, because I don't want City going on to 2. Oh, sorry. What is that lump? Sorry, I can't quite get to it. What's that weird lump on my arm? Oh, it's just a scab from the tattoo. You get to my age and you find a lump, you've got to check it straight away. It's on the skin, it's fine. Just panicked a bit there. My life flashed before my eyes. Woo! always get lumps checked, especially men and women. But lads, especially in the shower, you have a little feel up. You should be feeling them every day, right? Professionally, that is, right? Always go and get yourself checked if you find a little lumparoonie in there. Trust me, it's never any good. Stop being a snowflake, Terry. Oh, yeah, sorry about that. Sorry, yeah. Just fucking die young. You know what I mean? Ignore it until it goes to my brain. Yeah. Fucking hell, honestly. Why'd you ignore it for 9 months? Fucking hard, didn't I? Yeah, man. Fucking Audrey in the chat said, ignore it, bruv. Stop being a snowflake. Ignore it. That's what he said. Don't ignore it. Be a real man and face up to your fears. Check every morning. Yeah, bruv. Yeah, do the old thing. Right, let's bring the panel out now. Oh, shit, that's loud. Do the old caboodle in the morning. Check everything. Inside and out. Do you know what I like about jokes like that? It's I like the reaction of the insecure man. He's like, bruv, what are you saying, man? Sus, bruv. It's like, why are you so insecure, man? What's going on? Why haven't you told the world? Anyway, I check 7 times a day, legend. Right, let's bring the panel out now. Let's move this over. Kane's here, Kel's here, Ash. Oh, sorry, not Ash. Ashton. His name is now Ashton.
Well, no, the other half needs to be.
I got to deal with the journeys tonight.
Please don't ever refer.
No, you guys are cool. You guys are cool.
No, we're missing Ash's other half to be Ashton.
Yeah, no, they're just one. Ashton and emo David, as we're calling him now. Emotional David. Listen, I'm going to say it on every stream until it gets out of my brain. I can't believe he'd swap Benjamin Šeško for Darwin Núñez. In fact, he didn't even say that today. What he said this morning in another group chat, this is what he said. Out of every available striker in the world for Man United this summer, he'd have gone for Darwin Núñez.
That's crazy.
I back that. He should have.
That's what we would have got that scared.
Believe it. Okay, believe it. Let's move on. Kel, another fantastic night for the citizens.
Oh, I have to add something to your little Mojenda from earlier. I was on a stream with him and they was talking about Phil Foden. He said that Phil Foden is just one of the guys. So when he's if the team's doing well, Phil Foden's just one of the guys. He's not, leading them to anything or whatever. So sorry, Mo, you got to hold that because Phil Foden is not one of the guys. He's the guy. He had a great performance and he's been doing this all season too. I think some people are just going to judge Phil Foden on GNA. Well, guess what? He got an assist last game. He got 2 goals today. Both were bangers. Just absolutely brilliant. And Erling Haaland stays hot, scored another goal. Love to see it, man. That was a great game. My fan base was kind of freaking out about this matchup. I was like, I watched Dortmund. Got nothing to worry about. It should be fine. But the only thing that annoyed me in the whole game is that we didn't keep a clean sheet. But whatever. I'll be fine.
I hear that. The bit that stood out to me in this game, in the build-up, was when they were saying they've scored 4 goals in their last 4 Champions League games. My first thought was, well, they're fucked tonight then. Because
they're not scoring 4 at the Etihad. Sorry.
Yeah, but it means they're opening up. It means you're a team that's going to open up. And it means that you guys are going to thrive and eat out. And you did. It's another 4 goals for yourselves. As you say, Foden delivering and playing well today. The robot scoring and Cherky getting on the score sheet.
Yeah, Ryan Cherky, man. Just keep on keeping. I want to play him as much as we can. I kind of understand why he didn't start tonight. Maybe he'll start. Maybe they're keeping him fresh for the Liverpool game. He is still kind of finding his fitness because he did have a long injury. So I understand the minutes managing. Good to see him get out there and score another goal. What a signing he's been, man. 30 million quid. He's been great. I love it. I love the chemistry he and Foden are starting to form. I know we didn't really get to see it tonight, but I think we'll see it on Sunday. But yeah, and I think the Wings actually did a pretty decent job too. Savinho has been taking a lot of pelters from our fan base, and I thought he had a pretty good game. So I'll give him some credit. And yeah, it's just a nice win. And
here he is. Here he is.
Keep on keeping on.
Here he is. Mo Gender's in the house. Oi, oi.
I gotta hear what Mo thinks about one of the guys, Phil Foden. Just one of the guys.
I like when people come out of the bushes, you know what I mean? When their player play very well, it's amazing. Oh my God, did you see Verts? Where was Foden? He was good today. I was watching Inter and he was very good. And I said that he's becoming this good number 8. Like, people just call people out. Make it consistent first during the season before you start calling people out and say, "Oh, you said that, bro." It's not only you. I got messages. "Oh, Mo, say something about Foden now." Hey, fantastic, great. He played very well today. We gotta praise him for this.
He's been doing that all season, though.
He did what?
He's
How
been
many
playing
goals does he
well
have?
all season.
How many goals and assists he has in the
I
Premier
think
League?
he needs to have the DNA to be an effective player, as you saw in the game on Sunday against Bournemouth, where
He was
fine, he got one assist, but he was running the show without
I
DNA.
see the difference is I praised him. I said he was very good against Bournemouth. He was a cog in the machine against Bournemouth in that middle. He was very good. He was
running the
fantastic,
machine.
right?
Do you know what I think the problem is with the Foden debate is his levels was so high that Pep even like sort of saw him as being like sort of the replacement to KDB in that sort of area.
And David Silva.
Yeah, and so I think this season he's not hit the heights. I will say I probably
and Frank Lampard and Wayne Rooney.
I was. Well, you keep going, everyone. But,
that's the problem, Ash. You're actually hitting the nail in the head. That's the problem.
Yeah. No, but that's the thing is like I think the levels that everyone expects Foden to be at, he's not necessarily been there this season, but he will get there. And personally, I'm probably Foden's biggest fan. I was one of the people that always wanted him to play for England, even though he never hit those heights for country. But him for club is just unbelievable how he plays. And if he keeps up the levels, and he just needs to get back in a bit of form, like getting 2 goals tonight is going to help him. So we'll see if he kicks on.
My challenge to what you're saying, Mo, about he's got to do it more consistently is I saw him do this consistently in 2021. I saw him do it consistently in 22-23. I saw him do it consistently in 23-24. I see him in perform four seasons running. I saw him look amazing. There was goal. By the way, you're talking some of those seasons, he was literally like an 18, 19-year-old, and he was scoring, he was assisting, there was clutch goals, there was match-winning goals, massive goals in the Champions League, right through the stages, knockouts, everything. He was an integral part. He had an off season last year. He had a bad season. Why won't I go in on him for a bad season? I've seen many of my greatest players of all time have bad years over a 10, 15, 20-year campaign. So watching Foden have an off year in that period is so normal. It happens to most. There's been a couple of players who had a 15-year stint where they didn't have a bad season. But they are people like Messi and Ronaldo. They are the anomalies. I remember Andy Cole having bad years, Ryan Giggs having bad years. They've all done that. I didn't think that was the time to undo what he'd done before. So for me, Foden doesn't have to prove he's consistent. He's proven that in most of his career. He has to show that he's back to his best. And I've actually been quite impressed with him the majority of the season. He hasn't got as much GA as people would maybe expect. But if you watch the games, he's been very, very influential indeed. And watching his partnership in the Prem the other day with Cherki, you can see something there. Today, the second goal he scored today, there are very few players that play in the Premier League that can score that goal. That touch, that half turn, shooting with that much power and accuracy straight away. The man's been doing that the majority of his career. And even last year, if we want to speak about output, in his worst season, we've all watched him play, and he still scored 13 goals. Do you know what most of us would give to have midfielders that are scoring 13 goals in a season when they're not playing well? I just feel like I just think overall with Foden, there was a little bit too much disrespect.
Can I ask you guys something? Can we guys tell us where is the level we should judge Foden on? So Arsenal fans are pretty clear about this, which is I commend them for coming out to say this stuff. They are saying Saka, you should judge him, or top 3 wingers in the world. Liverpool fans, when they say Mohamed Salah, they say we are judging Mohamed Salah based on Thierry Henry level. I want someone to tell me, because it's all about, you know what, where are you putting that threshold? How are you judging?
Can I just say very quickly? Yeah. I judge him as one of the I judge him within the group of the best players in the world. I do that, and I criticized him last year for not being at that level. My pushback isn't that you shouldn't judge him and criticize him when he's underperforming. It was what you said to me on a stream, Mo, that bothered me when you said that bad year undoes everything that came before it.
Because I disagree with you that he was fantastic before.
Okay, well, I disagree again, but that's the thing for me. That's where we have to make sure he
was good that season. I still think he was very good that season.
Many other seasons.
I look at it this way. We ain't going to agree on the past, but I think it's very important that we both understand where our stances are on this. So I don't disagree with you that he should be judged amongst the best players in the world. So there should be a very low tolerance for bad performances because he's up there. That's my way. By the way, I judge the better players more harshly than I do the worst players. I know a lot of Baller FC do it the other way around. They get really angry at the average players and let the good players off when they play badly. I just think in life, that's the wrong way around to judge people. You know, at school, the bright kids get in more trouble if they're naughty than the dummy that eats chalk. I don't understand why in football we do it the other way around. But equally, my pushback isn't that he shouldn't be criticized. My pushback was against people undoing the fantastic previous 4 seasons he had, where he was an integral cog in the machine at City that made them one of the greatest European sides ever.
100%.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say one thing. Apart from the year where City won the Premier League and Foden won PFA, which is, I think he was the second or the third most important player that year for City, right? Or top 3. Apart from that, all the seasons before, he was young, which is fine. I would say that there was like about 7 to 8 players that are more important than him in that City team. During the treble season, he was probably number 10, if you could say that. Before that, he was number 7 or 8. That's how I'm judging him. He's a good player. The talent is there. Anyone that sits here and think that I'm denying the talent, they're brain dead in the chat. Anyone that thinks that I said that Foden is not a good player is brain dead. The fact is, I am holding him to a high standards based on what people. By the way, I do this.
What is your standard then?
Hold on. I'm going to give you an example. For Inter, for example, people don't understand. I get in a lot of fight with people online in a group chat that has over 100 people of Inter fans because they tell me Lautaro Martinez is one of the best forwards in the world. So I tell them the highest earner, the captain, you hold him to that standard. I'm expecting performances that I'm not going to come out and say, yeah, he was good today. I'm expecting him to be the rest. You know, for me, if Foden is a very good and one of the best, if not the best player in the league, as some people claim currently, I'm expecting that from him. I'm not expecting Shirky to step on the pitch and City fans saying, yep, Shirky is our playmaker now. Foden dropped to the 8. I'm not expecting that. I'm expecting a higher level. Like, for example, Kevin De Bruyne, David Silva, you pinpoint both of them to say, yep, how many games Kevin De Bruyne is the savior? David Silva, Yaya Toure, when he played for them. That is what I'm holding, Foden. That's right? If
no, makes sense.
It's amazing. It's a good, very good player. Good as Saka, good as Declan Rice. That's amazing, right? Declan Rice now is even stepping up. You know what I mean? You talk about Newcastle. Ashley's a Newcastle fan, and you're a Newcastle fan. You see Bruno Guimaraes, he's stepping up, levitating above the rest of the team. Where you're like, you pinpoint that player. He's amazing. No, for them. For that level.
I think Bruno G is a top 5 midfielder in the Premier League.
For me, that's the point 100%. That people don't understand.
Tell him, Kel. Tell him.
I think he's the best 6'8" hybrid out there.
I hope that people doesn't understand. That's the problem. When people say you are the best player, we're holding you to that level. By the way, we do the same for Saka. When people say Saka is top 3 wingers, I'm expecting game changers every game. I'm expecting you when you get the ball off my seat moments, like what happens with Ulisse.
Yeah, but that's where I swear the only thing I'd really challenge what you said there is when you expect game changing moments every game. I think we're setting standards in 2025 that, barring maybe a handful of players, and even then, Messi and Ronaldo didn't do it in every game. The top players in the world didn't always do it every single week. Even the very best that we grew up watching, Zidane and Henry and David Beckham and Scholes and everybody else, all of them had games where they didn't do it, or bad patches, or even sometimes whole bad seasons. And I think that we do this thing now of, as soon as there's a few bad games, it's anyone who doubts a player, it's, see, I told you. I got it because I think Donnarumma is one of the best goalkeepers in the world. He made that error in the game at the weekend. See, I told you weren't that good. And then everyone will go quiet. They'll wait 1, 5, 10, 15, 20 games. There'll be another error, which is quite a normal rate for errors, even for the greatest goalkeepers of all time. And it'll be see, I told you. I think there is such a level of overanalyzing the game now. Phil Foden's allowed to go, like Haaland can go a few games without scoring a goal. It doesn't mean he isn't one of the greatest finishers to ever grace European football. It's quite normal to go. Jimmy Greaves, one of the greatest ever strikers. I'll remember this quote to the day I die. He said, if he scored all the goals he missed and missed all the goals he scored, he'd have got 5 times as many goals in his career. And I think that that's always something to bear in mind. But look, City, very, very good tonight indeed. Kane, you haven't really spoke too much on the show, but Newcastle tonight, 3 wins on the bounce, another clean sheet. And I suppose you wish you could play in Europe every game rather than the Premier League at the minute. It seems to be where you feel most comfortable.
It certainly. I wish we could be in the Champions League all the time. I heard Champions League was really hard, but apparently it's not. No, it is tough. Yeah, it was a good game. It was a solid
nice
game.
Pictures.
Yes. Well, in saying that, I remember when we got the draw, and a lot of people saying Newcastle wouldn't even get through to the group stage, the knockout stages. And you know, I like how we're proving some of those people wrong. I think I told everyone when we were, because I was on the stream when that came out, I said all those home games, I think we'd win all of them except Barcelona, and even then, I think we'd give them a good game, and we have done so far. Now, I'm not going to get ahead of myself too much. We now have to face a few away games. Marseille away next. That's going to be an interesting one. I still back us to get something from that, if not a win. And then Leverkusen as well away. Could be an interesting game. I know they're not doing great. I don't think they're doing that good in the Bundesliga. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I still think it's a winnable game. And then PSV at home, followed by PSG away, which will be the last game in this stage of the competition. So, yeah, I mean, future looks good for the Champions League. It was a comfortable game, like you said, Terry. They had fits and spurts. They had the odd chance, a few shots from range, but nothing really too threatening. And yeah, the Dan Burn goal, it's literally like the Carabao Cup final, reborn again. Like, I don't know how he does it, but he somehow manages to. It's like the film Wanted, if you remember that, with Angelina Jolie when they're bending bullets, but Dan Burn has the ability to bend balls with his head.
It's one of the best headers I've seen in my life, actually.
Honestly,
Yeah.
I've never seen
Definitely.
I've never seen a replay of a header so many times from like all different angles. I was expecting, you know, like on FIFA when they're like, I think there's one thing where like it stops, it does like a rotation of the ball and everything, like has all these angles showing up. I was expecting that coming up at some point.
Literally, it looked like a David Beckham free kick off of his head.
Crazy.
It was ridiculous.
It was crazy.
It was bending like Burn. That's what it was.
There you go.
Look, I'll tell you what. But listen, Kane, I want your input on this because this annoyed me.
Hang on, everybody. Let me just prepare everybody, please. Ash, I need to do this. Let me just prepare you all for Ash exaggerating everything. But go on, Ash.
No, there's no exaggeration here. Steve McManaman, I am so fed up of hearing this guy on flipping commentary. The first 9 minutes when Joe Linton scored that goal, before the goal even got anywhere near the net, he was like, "Oh, this is well offside." And I was like, I can't even enjoy watching football right now. Like, this guy's literally ruining this for me. And I swear to God, for some reason, every game that we're in the Champions League, this donut is flipping being on commentary for us. So
I'll give you one piece of advice, Ash, that I follow myself, and that is watch the match on mute. There's no point in listening to the commentary.
it just annoyed me.
Well, then don't listen to the commentary on. It's like it's real simple.
Well, I do think TNT Sport gives you the option, doesn't it? Or maybe it's Prime. One of them now gives you the option to just have the crowd noise. But United used to get McManaman a lot on commentary, and I know that some people don't like the bias element where we had like Savage and Rio commentating on us, and I do get for neutrals, I don't like hearing that. But actually, I think the most important people to be taken care of when their team is playing is the fans of that team. And McManaman, I agree with you. Like, I was watching the game and he's like, they're leading, but really it's been all Bilbao. And I'm watching it going, what have you been smoking, McManaman? It was nothing like that at all. But
it was like when they had that sub where the striker came on for them and like he had like 2 shots on target. He was like, "Oh my God, look at him! He's got 2 shots on target." And it's like they're literally like p-rollers towards Nick Pope. It's like, what we doing?
It was kind of crazy. But no, you guys were very, very good tonight, I felt. And
the one caveat to that, Terry, is but I think the one caveat I've got to that is we are starting to have some of that. Some of the game was very reminiscent of our league form, where we create all these little chances and not really put them away. Like Joe Linton should have had more than just his one goal. Like there was a chance there where Voltemada and Elanga getting each other's way. That should have been 3. There's plenty of opportunities there where we need to be killing games off. And I think if this was a Premier League game, we're probably only 1-0 up, and that's one of those stupid chances that they do get.
No, I get that. Yeah, you got to kill some games off. What did you make of Machine Gun Kelly tonight?
I don't know which route.
Valdemar.
Yeah, like, you know, he's doing his thing, man. I'm not expecting him to score in every single game, but solid enough. I don't think we give the ball to him enough in play at times, but
I think Eddie Howe's noticed something though. I think he's noticed about Elanga underperforming heavily because he started. If in the last few games he started putting Harvey Barnes there.
I'll be honest with you guys. When it comes to Elanga, even when he was doing well at Forest last year, obviously United were getting a lot of stick for it. I was still watching it, and I still wasn't fully convinced. I congratulated him, but I still, he hasn't scored a goal for 7 months now.
Oh, believe me, I'm aware.
Here's the problem with Elanga. When Newcastle scouted Elanga, so Newcastle, the majority of these games that you guys are gonna play, you're gonna be on the front foot. Elanga at first, the way he thrived last season under Nuno was very simple. Give him the ball. There's 4 yards for him to kick and run after the ball. He will beat his opponent in speed. Sometimes you gotta be, when you play for a team like Newcastle that should be on the front foot the majority of the game. You had more than 60% position today. Elanga doesn't have the space to kick and run. You'll have to work it like Jacob Murphy or Gordon or a Barnes. There is no space for him to do that, and that's why when he gets the ball, he's like, okay, there's no space for me. What do I do now? It's either I go back or it tangles between my leg and I just lose it.
The thing is, Mo, I think there's a caveat to that though. So the stuff that I've watched about Elanga is, say, like the Barcelona game where we had massive counterattacks and he would hit the ball across. I think what Eddie Howe's plan actually is to have someone like Wissa that would have more pace than what Voltemada is. And then later on in the game, you would do a switch and have Voltemada and Murphy that comes on, because then Wissa and Elanga, I think, is a better pairing. So I think that's why some of it's not been working. And then when when Wissa comes in, I think we might see a bit different. But
the thing about Jacob Murphy is very good on the counterattacks. Elanga is very good on the counterattack. I think Jacob Murphy is even a better player. Just overall, Jacob Murphy is a better footballer.
But that goes back to Kane's point. Sorry, go on, Kane.
I like when someone's like, I've seen in chat like, oh, Murphy starts ahead of Elanga. Like, guys, you got to remember, Jacob Murphy had the second highest assist last season behind Mo Salah. So like, this isn't like
one more than Elanga.
This isn't like some sort of idiot that's sitting on the bench stopping Elanga from playing. He's got to earn his spot, and I guess the optimist in me sees. I know for wingers especially, it kind of takes them a little time to adapt to how we play. I think the way we're playing with our wingers are going to be slightly different. I look at Anthony Gordon. Anthony Gordon came in the January and wasn't great at that first half of this half with us, and everyone the same thing was slating him. Oh, he's just pace, he's just this, he's just that. And Eddie got a hold of him, and after amount of time with that coaching, you're starting to see a good player in him. And I'm hoping the optimist in me thinks, okay, that this could be another one of those where Eddie gets a hold of him, gets him working, and you never know, we might see an improvement in Elanga. But I agree, Elanga's not ironically hit the ground running, but I've got faith in him. He's shown bits that he can do, and he's shown potential. And I'm just going to back my manager in what he does best, which is make players better.
I think a big part of what you said earlier, though, I think Elanga will be very effective for you if you're going up early in games, if you get that second goal late in the first half, early in the second half, whether he starts the match or whether he then comes on. I think as teams open up against you, as they're pushing to try and get back into the game, I think will become a very effective tool. The issue you've had this season is you've not taken the lead or have you even had a 2-goal lead in the Premier League so far this season? You've only scored 5 goals in open play, and I mean you haven't even scored. You haven't really scored a lot of goals, so it's one of those things. I don't think you have. So I think that's also an area where he could do a little better for you. But I wouldn't necessarily say he's just a David here says he's 100 meter sprinter. I would say he's a little bit more than that, but he needs space to run into at United. That's why he looks so much better at Forest compared to United. He didn't always have the space rush. When he had the space to run in behind for us, he did some good things, but even now, as bad as we are, most teams sit behind the ball with Man United and give us very little room to work. And Newcastle, with all due respect to Nottingham Forest, teams are a lot more fearful of you and sit back behind the ball. You have better midfield that can control more of the game, and that's it, really.
Look, I will say I am worried about something, though. I'm worried about Gordon, because he had a hip injury the other day, and then he was holding his hip today and got taken off.
What's the name of that journalist of yours? Is it something Edwards?
What, Luke Edwards?
I saw him having a go at Mary Earps. I saw him having a go at Mary Earps the other day. Like, and maybe it's the Telegraph. I feel like their posts at the moment from the Telegraph are like really inflammatory towards everybody and everything. And then I saw what he posted about Anthony Gordon today, and I'm paraphrasing it here, but it was along the lines of Anthony Gordon thinks he's a superstar, but he basically is shit, right? That's kind of how it read to me, right? It's not what he said. And I was like, oh, it just kind of took me aback. Is like there's attitude problems, or he thinks he's better than he is? Is that kind of the feeling around Newcastle?
Yeah, well, I think like before he had, obviously the season before last, he had interest from Liverpool, had his head turned a bit. I don't think he thinks he's better at all. I think he's not performing too well in the Premier League. He's obviously performing very well in the Champions League. But like I said, it looks like he might have a hip injury or something, which I'm slightly worried about.
He's waiting for the summer to go on strike. That's what he's waiting for.
To be
fair,
fair,
if he has a bad year, they might be happy to let him go. Before the end of the show, I wanted to ask about the Barcelona match, Mo, because I know you were watching your team. Did you watch Barcelona?
Not really. I was watching Newcastle. I was watching Newcastle, City, and Inter in the middle of the screen.
Well, if none of you boys watched it, we won't talk about it too much. But I'm going to make a statement, which is not going to go down very well. If Hansi Flick persists with that high line, they are not winning the Champions League.
100%. No, when we were against them, we were exposing that high line so much. We just didn't have end product. Like that's when Elanga was doing amazing in that game. Like he was running behind them from the halfway line. Obviously, his 100-meter sprint is no one's catching up with him. So he 100% will get exposed against the likes of
Ange with Yamal. That's what he is. He's Ange with Yamal and that's what he is.
There is a lot of similarities. They just have a much better squad, and of course the midfield is fantastic. They have a lot of the ball. Yamal tonight did some. Yamal's goal. If you haven't seen it, ladies and gentlemen, go and watch Yamal's goal. There is a 1-2 in it. He didn't just dribble through 3 players. There was a 1-2 in it as well. It was genius. And there's so much about Barcelona I love. They get to 2-2, and then they concede within a minute because of the high line. They could have gone 4-2 down. I still think they should have conceded at the end. I know there is. I feel like the referees let Barcelona off that because I know he doesn't make contact with the ball, but Szczesny's putting his foot down. There's barely any contact, and Szczesny throws himself backwards with his arms in the air. And I just looked at that and thought, "Fuck off! I can't believe they gave that as a foul."
You're with Catalonia. We all know that.
No, I get it, but for me, look, Barcelona and Real Madrid managers, yes, they're partly judged on winning the league. But the Champions League is a bit like Bayern Munich as well, and PSG. They're all kind of judged on their Champions League performance, typically speaking, because I know that Barca have Real Madrid to contend with, and every couple of years they have Ati. But normally it's a 2-horse race. The other 2 teams, it's a 1-horse race in their league. But I'm looking at Barcelona, and I just think about. I was looking at the league table, and I was thinking, honestly, in the knockout phase with that high line in the way in which they play, we know Real Madrid can beat them because Real Madrid, have beaten them in the league as an example, but it can go either way. But I was essentially looking at that league table, and I was like, Arsenal, they'd fucking love playing against that. They'd congest it, they'd make it hard to be broken down, and it'd be bang to Saka, bang to Martinelli. Inter Milan already beat them last year, so I don't see why it isn't possible they do it again this year. Man City, Haaland, fuck me. He'll be licking his lips. Paris Saint-Germain have already done them this year when they had their whole front line out injured. Newcastle, again, I know you lost to them, but you played that game again and you took your chances. I think you could beat them. Real Madrid would mention Liverpool. I think would love it as well, as much as they've, again.
Salah, Gakpo, Isak, all are quick.
Honestly,
everyone is quick.
I would love to see even Tottenham. I'd love to see Tottenham against them. There's so many teams I look at that exploit that high line, and I just look at it and go, they're a very good team. They're going to finish. They will be in the knockout stages. They'll beat some teams. They'll hurt some teams. But in terms of winning it, You're just never winning it playing with that high line. It's just impossible. Impossible, in my opinion.
Do you know what? I am very surprised about how bad Benfica's doing though. This in the Champions League.
Where are they? Are they?
You've got to scroll all the way to the bottom.
Benfica. Well, Ajax are bottom 4 defeats. Yeah, Benfica 4 defeats as well. Oh, is that Jose Mourinho?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
I need to ask David, who's watching. Is this the man you thought could come back and save Man United? He's currently bottom. Okay, cool.
The man that we slapped up the other day.
Hang on. So this is David's remedy for Manchester United. Bring back or wash Jose Mourinho and sign Darwin Núñez.
Yeah. Do you know what's crazy?
No wonder David's angry. He's living with his own thoughts. This is crazy.
He said about the Jose Mourinho like 2 days after we slapped him up 3-0. Like we slapped up Jose Mourinho and he was like, bring Jose in, we need him. And I was just sat there like, I don't know about that one.
Yeah, I'm not too sure about that. That's great. Obviously, I'm only messing with David. He's a good guy, but yeah, that's a really bad start. I mean, who else should be doing better than?
But there's 9 teams that don't have any wins. There are 9 teams in this. Juventus haven't had 1 win.
Wow, Juve's is not good. Do you know who else is really bad? Considering they're having a good Marseille. Marseille down there doesn't look great. I don't know who they've played fully. Do you know what? Do you know who I'm not surprised to see at number 24, though? I'm not surprised to see, champions of Serie A, favourites for Serie A, but Antonio Conte that low. This is one of the other reasons as well, when Man United fans are like, I want Antonio Conte. Part of me goes, I get he could come in and win us a league title. But I look at it a little, do you know, he reminds me of McDonald's. When you're hungry, when what I mean is, when you're really hungry. We've all had a McDonald's when we're hungry, and when you buy it, it smells nice. You start eating it, it's like, oh, that tastes great. But by the time you finish, you feel a bit sick, and then an hour later, you're hungry anyway because it's empty calories. I feel like that is what Conte does to most teams. He goes in, you're starving. He's like, oh, this is amazing, and then when you start looking at the bigger picture about what you really want. Okay, we want to win the league multiple years. We want to be good in Europe. He can't deliver that. And he'd be one of those. I wouldn't be surprised if he joined United and we won the league. I wouldn't be surprised if we dropped out of the Champions League the following year in one of the lowest ranked places. And then everyone would be saying he's a fraud anyway. And as great as it would be to have that league title, it's why I've just never been sold on Antonio Conte. There's something about him.
Just get him for the year then. Just get him no Europe, get the title, and then you sack him and bring someone else in.
Maybe that's what you do. Maybe you bring him in for. We used to have these teams when I worked at Barclays, when there used to be branches open. They were called SWAT teams, and it was basically there was all these branches around. I can share this now because my NDA's finished. Where there was all these branches where, like, if you knew what was going on behind the scenes, every customer would take their money out of the bank. It was just horrendous behaviors, money being stolen, fucking rat infestations because like the rubbish never got taken. It was, some of them were horrible. And these are these SWAT teams that would go in, not shoot people. They'd go in and it would be like a crack team of really good leaders that would go in to like sort the place out and get it back on an even kill. That's what Antonio Conte is. The issue is with all these SWAT team guys, they don't even exist anymore in the bank because they were basically people that were too harsh and too horrible to actually run their own branch for 4 or 5 years, because within 6 to 12 months, everybody got sick and tired of them. But they were brilliant in short bursts. In short bursts, they'd fix things, but they couldn't be there too long. You know, they were like sugar. They rot your teeth in the end. And that's what Antonio Conte is for me. He is such a he's maybe one of the best short-term fixes you could ever have. But how are they 24th when they're the best team? It doesn't even make sense. They're the best team in Serie A, but look what Inter Milan are doing versus them. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy.
He doesn't know how to coach in Europe.
No, he doesn't. There's definitely something wrong with him.
And he only can coach when there is like 7 days between the games. 6-7 days.
No, there's something in that. Again, being disingenuous about Napoli, their best player are all out injured. Not every team has depth and can spend millions. Teams like that. Well, McTominay's
by the way,
been playing.
I'm just going to tell you something, my friend. They spend the most in Serie A. They spent what is considered like Liverpool in Serie A. By the way, and also he has a history of this. He has a history of this.
Hang on, yeah, look, but they got beat 6-2 by PSV. Okay, and no disrespect, they got beat 6-2 by them. The Man City game, I kind of get. They got a man sent off really early in the game as an example, but it's not a good enough excuse to me. They're the best team in Italy, and this, and the reason why I'm judging him, and I am going to judge him on this, is because it's been consistent in Antonio Conte's career. You know, even with Spurs, he was basically getting them knocked out of the fucking Conference League in the group stages. He basically did. I know they defend it with a little bit of a this, that, and the other, but he was awful in it. And like in terms of who's out injured, who is out injured? So they've got, again, Lukaku's out, fair. KDB, fair. Who else? Who's their other best player? I don't know. Because McTominay's playing.
Though, right?
McTominay's playing.
Hoyland is back. They have the players.
Hoyland is there. Yeah, they've got a few players out, but no, I'm yeah, no.
Hoyland's better than Sheshko, remember?
They got Spinazzola's out, KDB, Lukaku.
Yeah, but everybody.
It's
not an excuse.
It's just that's just normal injuries. To be fair,
normal. No, I agree.
You've just got to look at the other teams that are like above you, like the likes of like say PSV, carrier bags above you, like.
Oh. Yeah, hang on. This here it says this is against it. We're being disingenuous about Barca. They struggle with so many injuries this season. Flick is doing incredible with what he has got at the moment.
I don't think, my friend, you understood what I put. It's not about the personnel. It doesn't matter if he has his first 11 or not. The way he plays football, that high line gets exploited by every single team, regardless of who the team is. Like, it doesn't matter. And it doesn't matter who plays at the back line. You cannot just stay at halfway line for 90 minutes.
Well, I remember Benfica last year, very unlucky not to beat them. Yeah, and yes, they've got players. I mean, it says here they've got Lewandowski out, but he played today. I know Gavi's out, Pedri's out, Rafinha, but they still had such talented players out there today. They still had such talented players. Yeah. But it's that high line will get exploited. It doesn't matter how good you are. How if you can add those, like Pedri and Gavi being back in the team, Almo being back in the team, Rafinha being back in the team, isn't going to stop those balls being hit over the top. So again, they're gonna go far. They could get to a quarterfinal or a semi-final, maybe even a final. But I just feel it's one of those things. It's like a ticking time bomb, and at some stage, there's going to be Roy, mate. It's going to be Roy Cropper. They're going to come a Cropper. Is what's going to happen.
It's the blueprints out there, isn't it? How it
no, exactly. Look, I want to thank every person that's tuned into the show this evening. You're absolute legends, every single one of you. We're back tomorrow with Killing the Game. We also have the six-sided tomorrow. It's Thursday tomorrow already. The week's gone so quickly. We're playing Spurs soon. Don't want it. I'm scared. It is. I look forward to Man United games when they're far away, and then as I get closer, I get real nervous. This is going to redirect you to El Hawa, so make sure you get over there and support my brother. Did I say it all right? I messed it up. El Hawa.
Sound like Jonathan Ross trying to pronounce anything. El Hawa.
I'm terrible, man. I'm terrible. El Hawa. But
just
get over there and support the boys.
Where's it going? Where's the stream going? More.
El Hawa, guys. El Hawa.
That's right.
El Hawa. Yeah, that's what I said, bruv.
Sounds like a Saudi Arabian team.
Proper geezer, you like.
Well, it is Arabic, Ash, yes.
Well, there you go.
Arabic word, mate. It's an Arabic word. It's a Sam show, which I assume it's the panel all Arabic. That's my general thought. Or
most of us, yeah,
more or less, yeah.
Yeah.
But get across there and support it, people. It's a great show. Go and hit the like button and share, subscribe. We're back tomorrow. Ash, Kane, Mo, Kel that was on earlier. Thank you to our super chatters, everyone who's liked the show. Legends. Take care. Goodbye. God bless, and we'll see you soon. Peace.